Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is a 1006 Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say, we've got a retro battle here, a really old school, old fashioned battle that you don't see very often on a 31k battlefield these days. You'll see this fought on the Germanic forest map with the big open plains if you want to fight out in the open, okay? Or you've got the woods if you want to kind of hide your units and spring those nasty ambushes onto enemy troops. As I say, this is a retro battle kind of thing that we used to play in the early years of Rome Total War. Okay, so our first teammate is GoTW Romex. Now Romex has got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. He's actually got the bog standard 31k Roman army that has been the bog standard 31k Roman army for many, many years. That's because it's so effective and so efficient. Okay. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now Fesen's got 13 infantry and 5 cavalry. Okay, 13 infantry and 5 cavalry, but he's got a very interesting army build, which I think you'll find quite interesting here. Okay, you'll see that he's got a couple of town watch units, which have got gold shield, gold attack on, which I presume are going to be his pilot shield units. Okay, he'll put that in front of his main battle formation. He's got a morale boosting eagle unit, which I always like to say to people, please do that with your Roman army. It really does help. Okay. And if you look at the upgrades on his infantry, you'll see that he's got 7 upgrades and experience strike, gold shield, gold attack on the vast majority of his infantry. So he's got a veteran stripe on the vast majority of his infantry. Okay, once again, look, 7 upgrades, experience strike, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so that is Fesen's army there. Pretty tough. Be interesting to see what the upgrades are on his cavalry. You'll see a lot of his units are hiding in the woods. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry, and he's got 7 upgrades and experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack. So make no mistake, I think this is quite a serious Roman army of Fesens there with all those upgrades, and it'll be interesting to see how well he does during the course of the battle. Right, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Mantu. Now I've got to tell you something here. Mantu has just come back from a party. By his own admission, he is drunk. Okay, so Mantu is drunk. His army, get ready for this, is just 7 infantry, 7 war dogs and 6 cavalry. Okay, 7 infantry, 7 war dogs and 6 cavalry. That is his army. Now looking at his army, this could be quite a short battle. I don't know what all of you are thinking there. Okay, there's a look at his war dogs there. 7 units of war dogs. I would suggest that is unusual on a 31k battlefield. 7 infantry, but if you have a look at his cavalry, okay, you'll see that his cavalry is fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, now what adds to their battle proficiency, okay, is having a cavalry general with them as well. Okay, so they're fully upgraded, plus they're going to get the cavalry general bonus as well. Make no mistake, those fully upgraded cavalry can be very, very effective, especially with the cavalry general with them. Okay, but it's just, is that going to make up for 7 infantry and 7 war dogs? Okay, I'll leave that up to you, but just remember that Mantu, by his own admissions, had a lovely time at the party, but he is drunk. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how well he does during the course of the battle there. But looking at that army, it could be a short battle. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, and our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander. I've got 14 infantry and 5 cavalry. As I say, it's got the potential to be an absolute cracking battle. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Mars, who's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, but it's not quite the bog standard 31k Roman army, and I'll just show you why. Because he has incorporated a morale boosting eagle unit in his army. I'm so glad to see people bringing Roman armies with an eagle unit in, because that morale boosting unit really can make a difference to the fighting qualities of your troops, like being, with that extra morale. And his cavalry, just gold shield, gold attack there. Okay, so that's Mars' army, probably a tried and tested army there. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Sable. Now Sable's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, but his isn't quite the the normal 31k Roman army. And I'll show you once again there. Can you see that Sable has also incorporated an Eagle unit into his Roman army? So once again, really well done to Sable and Mars. Nice to see extra morale boosting units within their armies. Okay, so our next teammate is Brotherhood member EthEth. Now, there's some interesting things you might find about EthEth. He's the youngest player ever to join the Brotherhood. Okay, many years ago, when he was 15, he joined a lot of our games. Now, the minimum age to join the Brotherhood is 16. Okay, so he was only 15, but he was such a mature and such a good player that I actually went to the Senate, the 5 members that actually guide the Brotherhood, to ask for special permission for EthEth to join the Brotherhood. And because they knew him, he was granted that kind of special privilege of being under 16 to join the Brotherhood. So he's the youngest member to ever join the Brotherhood. But the other thing you might like to know is that at the peak of Rome Total War, when there were hundreds of players in the lobby, there was a CWB tournament, a 2v2 CWB tournament that EthEth and another player entered. Okay. Now, bearing in mind that there's hundreds of players in the lobby, loads of really good CWB players. I can't remember whether it was for the original 12.5 thousand or the new 15k thousand. I can't remember which it was there. But just to let you know that EthEth and his partner, now EthEth's in a 31k clan, right? But him and his partner won the CWB tournament, as I say, when it was the peak of Rome Total War, when there was hundreds in the lobby. And there was a lot of eyebrows raised, okay, saying, well, look, EthEth is in a 31k clan, but he's just won a CWB tournament. Okay, but remember that Brotherhood members, right from then all the way up to right now, these days, they play both CWB and 31k. So, as I say, just that you might not have known that EthEth and his partner, another partner, entered this massive CWB tournament when there were loads and loads of really good CWB players there, and EthEth and his partner won that tournament. And as I say, bearing in mind he was in the 31k clan, you know, the Brotherhood there. There was a few eyebrows raised, but as I say, a heck of a lot of Brotherhood members, right from the early days of when the clan was started, right up to today, they play both CWB and 31k. So I just thought you might find that interesting, that he's the youngest member to ever join the Brotherhood, and he won a 2v2 CWB tournament. And make no mistake, when he entered that tournament, there were really loads of really great CWB players, and EthEth and his the person that he played with actually went on to win it. So I just thought you would find that interesting there, because sometimes a bit of history about some of the players can be quite interesting. Okay, so EthEth's army in this battle are 14 infantry there and 6 cavalry. But if you notice here, can you see the first 2 pilot shield units, if you notice, have got no upgrades. Okay, the first 2 units of his pilot shield units, no upgrades. Okay, I think the third unit of the pilot shield unit has got 5 upgrades on there, or I'm guessing that's going to be gold defense and silver attack there. Okay, so I thought you might find that interesting. The first 2 units, no upgrades there. Of course, they're just going to take loads of pilot damage, so why do you want to spend your money, is what he was thinking. And that enables him, look, to put 7 upgrades on his cavalry. So he's got an experienced stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry there. Okay, so that's EthEth there. I say he doesn't play a lot now because he's got family commitments, but it's always nice to see him come on to Rome Total War. Now let's look for their 4th teammate here, who seems to be hiding in the woods. Let's see if we can spot his general. Oh, yep, there he is. I can see him. And their 4th teammate is someone who's called himself Gaul only, but it is Brotherhood member TR. Now, TR has got the bog standard 31k Roman army of 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. But look at the upgrades on his general. 8 upgrades, 2 experienced stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his general unit there. Make no mistake, that unit would take a heck of a lot of killing with those type of upgrades on. As you can see, the vast majority of his army are hiding in the woods. But make no mistake, that will be a tried and tested TR army. It should be a great battle. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I wanted to explain to you why this is a kind of a retro battle, an old-fashioned, old-school battle, and that's because this is a Rome versus Rome battle. Okay, now just to say, in the early years of Rome Total War, most people played with Rome. Okay, so in the early years, you get loads of 3v3 and 4v4 Rome v Rome battles. Now these days, because people people have evolved and have got better with different factions, you rarely see a Rome versus Rome battle. So what we said at the beginning of this battle was, let's have an old school, old-fashioned Rome v Rome grinding down battle. So that's what we've got here. This is really retro. As I say, for R31K battles, it's very, very rare to ever have a Rome v Rome battle. So what we've said here, right, let's do it and let's see exactly what happens here. So what you're seeing here is like a battle from back in 2005, 2006 kind of thing. Okay, at this stage of the battle, a party animal drunken Mantu is is taking his army, looks to me like round the left flank here. As I say, remember, Mantu has just got back from a party, and by his own admission, he is quite drunk. He's taking his 7 infantry forward there towards the enemy. And you'll see here that Fesen is moving forward as well. Let's say this is just the very, very early stages of this Rome v Rome kind of old school battle here. And you'll see that Fesen is facing Sable there. So that should be interesting. And there you can see, as we thought, he's got the 2 town watch units in front of his main battle formation there to soak up Sable's pilers. I think that's why, obviously that's why he's got those cheap units in front of his main battle formation there, just to soak up the enemy pilers. And here you'll see that Romex here, GoTW Romex, is moving his army over as well there. So you can see where we're going to form up at this particular part of the battle there. Now, just thought I'd show you something quite interesting here. Can you see Sable? Okay, old school here, wide battle formation, but not much depth. Can you see that? So wide battle formation, not much depth, in comparison to what we call the stacked battle formation here. Can you see how much depth there is in that battle formation there, in comparison to kind of like the old school wide battle formation there of Sable? Okay, let's say if you look here, over here, you'll see Fesen's army is stacked. That's what we call a stacked battle formation there. My units are obviously moving at the moment, but I've obviously got an old school kind of stacked battle formation as well. And look at Mantu's wide battle formation. I mean, that is pretty wide there. But I just thought you might find that interesting to see a wide battle formation on a modern day battlefield. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle, you'll see Fesen, if I remember correctly, he was really aggressive right from the beginning of the battle here, and you can see him taking his army forward. Now, can you see Sable attacking that forward unit of Fesen's there, because he knows that that forward unit's only a town watch, and he knows that if he attacks it with that urban cohort, he's probably going to rout that town watch unit there. And then, of course, Fesen would lose his pilot shield unit, one of his pilot shield units there. But I can see a lot of pilots going there, or you can see one of Fesen's town watch unit has just been routed there. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if Sable started to concentrate on the other one there, so that then what he's hoping there is that obviously Fesen will lose his 2 pilot shield units, and then they can do a lot of damage to Fesen's main battle formation. Okay, over here on the left side, you'll see that, as I say, a drunken Mantu looks like he's taking his units around the left flank here. So it'll be interesting to see what he's going to do there with his 7 infantry, 7 war dogs, and 6 maximum upgraded cavalry. But as I say, here in the center, you'll see that both Fesen and Sable can be very, very aggressive players here. And you can see there that Fesen's really being aggressive there, moving his infantry forward. Now remember that I think the vast majority of Fesen's infantry has 7 upgrades on, and experience, stripe, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so I think Fesen's feeling really confident here with the upgrades that he's got on his infantry. That is why he's being so aggressive. If you notice there, really pushing in there. Like, he's already routed one of Sable's forward units there, and he's really pushing in, and he's taking his infantry up close there. You'll notice he's got his general and he's got his eagle unit at the back of his battle formation, which is a good tactical move there. He's keeping them out of the fight, but they can still give their morale bonuses there to the fighting troops. And he's got his cavalry there locked and loaded right behind his infantry, and as you can see there, Sable has got his cavalry locked and loaded. Now, veterans watching this, do you remember the old Rome v Rome battles? Very often they were kind of like grinding down battles, weren't they, in the centre? I know a lot of veterans watching this will remember those days, and you'll be surprised actually with this old school, old fashioned type battle here, how the grinding down happens again. Look at that cavalry charge going in there like a bang as it smashes in there. But I think the experience stroke there of Fesen's infantry kept them fighting. Now Fesen's counter-attacking with his cavalry, and bang as he smashes in there right into the centre of Sable's battle formation there. Look at the penetration. But now Fesen's cavalry charge has culminated. Okay, just pause the game for a second here. So Fesen's charge now has culminated. Okay, so what he needs to do now is not stand around there fighting. He's managed to rout that eagle unit of Sable's there. Probably went for the general, but now his cavalry charge has culminated. He needs to get the cavalry out of there, otherwise they'll be hit by fresh enemy cavalry coming in on them. And remember, once your cavalry culminates, it's just stood there fighting the enemy troops, and they're very susceptible to being hit by enemy cavalry hits there. Okay, so as I say, best thing for Fesen to do now is pull his cavalry out of there before he gets hit by enemy cavalry. As I say, newer players for Rome Total War, once your cavalry attack culminates, just get your cavalry out there as soon as you can. Over here you can see Mantu there has got his infantry round the flank, and you can see that the enemy team has got TR there facing Mantu's army. Okay, but Mantu looks to me like he's going to try and get in behind the enemy team. But in the centre here, as you can see, it is developing into a bit of a grinding down battle there. Look at the dead here that have just been killed by pilot hits there before even any hand-to-hand fighting. I can see several of the blue Scipii units of Sables have been routed as well there. As I say, Fesen being extremely aggressive, but as I say, needs to pull his cavalry out of there now. Which is what he's doing. It's a good move, and leaving his infantry there to take the brunt. Oh my gosh, look at that massive Brutii cavalry attack going in there, and bang as it smashes in there. You'll see Fesen counter-attacking once again with his cavalry, and bang as he smashes in there as well. Oh my gosh, just look at this particular part of the battlefield there. A real kind of killing ground there, if you like. You can see I'm going to start moving my SBQR army over there to support Fesen there. Okay, I'm going to move my army over there because I can see that it's going to be a bit of a grinding battle. You'll see Romex has moved some of his units forward as well to support Fesen there. So as I say, this could well be a decisive part of the battle here right at the beginning. But look at the enemy cavalry here lined up, locked and loaded, ready to smash into Fesen's units there. Oh my gosh, there's already loads of enemy cavalry engaged with Fesen's units there as well. Oh my gosh, you can see that blue Scipii cavalry going to charge through his retreating allies' cavalry there to smash into Fesen again. And there's a Scipii cavalry going in there, and bang as it smashes in there. And here I'd just like to show you a nice move here by Sable. Can you see how he's getting units around the flank of Fesen there? Can you see there what's down on this flank, especially getting units around the flank of Fesen there to attack the flank of his units. Nice tactical move there, using the width of that old school battle formation there. Look, that's what Sable's doing. Nice move there. Some more enemy cavalry charging in there. But remember, Fesen's units have got that experience stripe. They've got that veteran stripe on there. So they're going to hold on a lot longer than just gold shield, gold attack infantry there. And as I say, you can see Romex taking units forward. And remember that Fesen has got his general and eagle unit stood at the back there of his fighting troops, giving additional morale bonus. There's Fesen attacking again with his cavalry. Like a bang as he smashed in here, but you can see the enemy counter-attacking with cavalry as well. Oh my gosh, there looks like there's a massive cavalry attack coming in on Fesen there, and bang as it smashes in there. Oh my gosh, right, I'm sending in my SPQR cavalry, trying to support Fesen. Can you see my cavalry's charging in there as well? Bang as it smashes in there. I've moved my infantry. Can you see I've moved my purple SPQR infantry battle formation over there to help Fesen? Oh my gosh, just look at this. You can see several of Fesen's units are starting to crack now under the pressure of the enemy attack, but you'll also notice that several of the enemy units are also routing here under the pressure. But oh my gosh, just look at this particular part of the battlefield here. So many resources, so many units being thrown in to this part of the battlefield. Oh my gosh, could this be the make or break of the battle here, do you think, with so many resources being thrown in by both teams there? So yeah, and you can see here, as I say, Mantu moving around the flank. He's already got his dog units and cavalry units at the back, like chasing down enemy routers, making sure that they don't rally. So well done to Mantu there, chasing them down with his dog units and those fully upgraded cavalry units. And as I say, it wouldn't surprise me if Mantu brought his infantry round behind the enemy army there. Be interesting to see if that's what he's going to do. But as I say, right in the centre here is where the main action is starting. Oh my gosh. As I say, I've thrown my cavalry in there. I've moved my infantry battle formation over there as well to try and help Fesen. But just look at all the resources, all the units of both teams been thrown in there. Looks like there's a Brutii cavalry attack coming in there from EthEth. Bang! As he smashes in there. This could be, oh my gosh, this could well be a pivotal part of the battle here. You can see that massive cavalry attack there by EthEth, he timed it just right there, smashed into our units, and I think, if I remember correctly, he has now routed most of Fesen's units. Can you see that massive cavalry hit there has routed most of Fesen's units, and sadly a couple of my cavalry units have been routed as well. I can see a couple of my cavalry units. Can you see purple SPQR cavalry units there have been routed as well there from that massive hit. Oh my gosh, as I say, could this be a pivotal part of the battle, what we're seeing here, what we're witnessing here in this massive cavalry and infantry smashing? Look at the penetration of EthEth's cavalry there. But see, once again, look, his cavalry attack has culminated and he is now pulling his cavalry back, which is the best thing to do when you actually do a cavalry attack. Okay, so as I say here, you can see Romex moving his red Julia army forward there, and you can see my SPQR, my purple SPQR army is in front of Romex's army now, but most of Fesen's units have now been routed. Okay, so which is bad. But just look at that killing area there, the killing ground there. Just look at the massive piles of dead there. I mean, that really is a dead zone, isn't it? It really is a killing zone or a dead zone there, but just piles upon piles of dead. As I say, was that a pivotal part of the battle? We've lost so many of our units here, but you can see, as I say, Fesen's general and his eagle unit is just there, giving morale bonus to the fighting troops at the front. You'll see my SPQR general there as well. So there's a lot of morale going in on our troops. Now, as we said earlier, you can see that Mantu's brought his infantry round behind the enemy troops. Good tactical move, because now the enemy have got to look both ways. They've got to try and concentrate in two directions instead of one. So nice move there by Mantu. And just in a minute, you're going to see another possibly pivotal part of the battle. Okay, just to give you a heads up on that. But here you can see that it's kind of the engagement at the main part of the battle here seems to have cooled down a bit. Can you see that there's not a lot, there's a little bit of skirmishing going on there. I can see some Scipio troops attacking the forward units of my battle formation there, but not a lot going on. But here, as I say, look at Mantu being very aggressive with his 7 infantry there. I'll say that again, 7 infantry moving in towards the enemy troops there. Okay, as I say, making the enemy look in 2 directions there, so they can't concentrate on one direction. You'll see that Mantu sent in some of his dog units here to attack the enemy cavalry. Okay, there you are. You can see those dogs now attacking the enemy Scipio cavalry there. But as I say, just in a minute, you're going to see what is possibly a pivotal part of the battle. Okay, but as I say, here Fesen's infantry there, if you notice, they're in open order as well. So, you know, he leaves them in open order so they'll suffer less missile damage. Now, notice here how he's taken his fully upgraded cavalry, okay, plus is fully upgraded a cavalry unit as well over to this particular part of the battlefield. Now, as I say, I think after this battle a lot of players thought this was a pivotal moment in the battle here. Okay, so there you are, you can see Mantu. Now he knows he's up against two lots of cavalry. Okay, he knows he's up against Mars's cavalry and EthEth's cavalry here. Okay, but he also knows his cavalry is fully upgraded. Okay, so there's Mars green Brutii cavalry. Okay, that's all of his cavalry there, and there's EthEth's green Brutii cavalry as well, all of his cavalry there. So there's 12 cavalry units here going to attack Mantu's 6 fully upgraded cavalry units. Okay, so just watch this. As I say, this was reckoned after the battle to be a pivotal part of the battle. Right, you can see there that Mantu's cavalry are charging in there. Now just watch the enemy Brutii cavalry. Right, you can see Mars's cavalry charging in, and there comes EthEth's cavalry as well. Right, so 12 cavalry units fighting 6 here. Okay, but as I said to you earlier, when you've got 6 fully upgraded Praetorian cavalry, including the general morale bonus, that you'll be surprised on how tough and how long that Praetorian cavalry will fight for. Okay, so you've got 6 SPQR cavalry units against 12 Brutii units there. Okay, meanwhile over here you'll see that Mantu's units there have been, even though he had them in open order, have been quite decimated by pilot units, pilot hits there, as you can see. Okay, and meanwhile here you'll see that the enemy have turned a lot of units to face the 7 units of Mantu there. So as I say, they're concentrating in 2 directions at the moment. You'll see that Romex has really spread his infantry out across the battlefield there, but you'll see my battle formation is still the old school stacked battle formation there. Okay, but as I say, Mantu here, good tactical move there. And as I say, making the enemy look in 2 directions here so they can't kind of concentrate in one direction. But over here, as I say, you can see 6 fully upgraded Praetorian cavalry, including the general there, up against 12 Brutii cavalry units there. Now, if Mantu brings, exactly what I was thinking there, Mantu's going to bring a couple of his infantry units into the battle here as well. Nice move there by Mantu. Okay, so now he's got not just his cavalry, but a couple of infantry units. Can you see the enemy Brutii cavalry starting to rout at this stage of the battle? Oh my gosh. So there you are, as I said here, 6 fully upgraded Praetorian cavalry, including the general. You would be surprised on how long and how tough those cavalry units are there, as you can see. As I say, he's brought a couple of infantry units over as well. You can see the Brutii cavalry withdrawing. Now they may well rally and come back and hit Mantu there, unless he's going to chase them down. He may well try and chase them down there. As you can see, he's sending a couple of units off to try and chase them down, but he's going to bring them back, because you can see those units are rallying quite quickly here. But oh my gosh, just look at the damage that Mantu's done to all that Brutii cavalry that was coming in on him. Okay, so as I say there, he's fighting, at one stage he was fighting 12 cavalry units with 6. Right, you can see here Morris charging his cavalry back in there, look, and now Mantu counterattacks with his cavalry. And as I say, remember, Mantu's got a couple of infantry units in there as well, and you can see Morris really charging. I think EthEth got some rallied cavalry in there as well. But as I say, after the battle, this was reckoned to be a pivotal part of the battle there. Okay, so here you'll see that all of Mantu's infantry has been routed, and it looks like they've been routed by the infantry and cavalry of TR. Okay, you can see there's a couple, I think there's a couple of Mantu's units have rallied, but they have initially been routed by the enemy there. So as I say, he only had 7 infantry and they've been routed, but his fully upgraded cavalry there has been doing extremely well. Now all these enemy troops that were turned to face Mantu's infantry can now turn back and face Romex and myself. Okay, so as I say, Mantu did well there, especially with his cavalry. and throwing those couple of infantry units in with his cavalry there to take on all that cavalry. Great move there by Mantu. So even when he's drunk, okay, I'll leave it up to you guys. Is he playing better drunk than he does normally? Please put your thoughts in the comments there. It'll be interesting to see what you all think. But here you can see the enemy bringing in some more of their infantry. So it might be a good idea now for Mantu to move his cavalry away. He's going to have to leave his 2 infantry units there to fight it out, I think. But he may well chase down those enemy cavalry units there to stop them from rallying. You'll see there that he's still got his general unit left there, but you can see it's very, very battle depleted, down to 4 men. But as I say, look, you can still see he's got his general there, so that'll still be able to give general morale bonus. Okay, but you can see a lot of enemy cavalry coming over now, probably just to finish off those couple of infantry units that he brought in there. But as I say, all the enemy now units can now concentrate on us. Now you can see my SBQR army here. What I'm thinking of doing is a flanking movement on the enemy team to try and stretch their armies. Okay, try and like kind of make them having to, like I say, stretch themselves out. Might leave some weak points for Romex to be able to hit with his cavalry or something like that. You'll see I keep moving around to the left with my SBQR infantry. Pause the game for a second here. So as I say, the last of those infantry units of Mantus have now been taken out there by EthEth's cavalry and the SBQR cavalry there. But if you look at the vast majority of dead here, you'll see that it's Brutii cavalry. Make no mistake, Mars and EthEth's cavalry were really, really battle depleted here, and they lost a heck of a lot of cavalry there, loads of it, and the units they've got left are very battle damaged. Okay, now as I say, at the end of the battle, that was looked upon as possibly a pivotal part of the battle. Okay, so as I say, here you'll see my cavalry going over to the left flank. Okay, and as I say, I'll be looking to move my infantry around there, just trying to kind of cause a bit of disruption. As I say, trying to stretch the enemy team a little bit here, because if you notice there now, we got Mars's, EthEth's and TR's army basically against well, their infantry basically against Romex and myself. So I mean, you looking at the enemy numbers here, it is like a 2v3 kind of at the moment. Okay, so as I say, taking my units around the left flank here, got my cavalry locked and loaded, and as I say, really by doing this, I'm just kind of trying to disrupt them. As I say, try and stretch them a little bit here, as it is a 2v3 kind of at the moment here. And as I say, I think if I remember correctly, Fesen's general and his Eagle unit is still alive, so he'll be able to give good morale, extra good morale bonus to us here. As I say, I'm going to keep moving around to the left here. And if you notice there, we are causing a little bit of disruption in their army. Okay, I'm going to charge with my cavalry here. I'm looking, I remember I went to go for the Brutii general, but I think EthEth could see that coming and he backed his units off. He'll turn now to meet the attack, which he's done. That bang, charge straight in there. I need to now pull my cavalry back out of there as quick as I can. If you notice, I've moved my infantry forward towards the Brutii infantry there, but I need to move my cavalry back out of there now. Did a bit of damage there with my cavalry, but didn't get to the general, which I was aiming for there. But pulled my cavalry back in good time. And as I say, you can see me still trying to move around. If you notice, if you look at their team, can you see how disruptive this left flanking action of mine has been? You see how they're having to move units around, as I say, causing disruption, stretching them from one side to the other there, if you notice. And hopefully, and can you see how Romex there, as I say, has stretched his army out across the battlefield. They're looking for any possible inroads he could strike with his cavalry. Now remember, Romex has still got a heck of a lot of cavalry left, and as I say, maybe that could prove pivotal later on in the battle. Right, you'll see here that my battle formation needs some reorganization. Okay, I need to do a bit of micromanagement and a bit of reorganization with my infantry battle formation. I'm still continuing taking my cavalry around the flank here. Over here you'll see that Mantu's fully upgraded cavalry. You'll see he's got 4 units left, but they are all very, very battle depleted at this stage. But they are fully upgraded, so they still have a bit of a punch, even though they are very battle depleted. Now Mars's infantry here, he's basically got, looks like his infantry is intact. Is he going to come round the flank of Romex? Is that something he's thinking about here? You can see the enemy cavalry there. Yeah, they've still got a bit of cavalry left, but it is very, very battle depleted. If you look at each unit there, you'll see it is quite battle depleted there. And as I say, here you'll see my SBQR units there, still moving around to the left, still trying to cause a bit of disruption in the enemy team, which might leave some vulnerable points that Romex could hit with his cavalry. That's what I was thinking at the time. Maybe some vulnerable points he could hit with his cavalry and infantry. But as I say, my infantry battle formation needs a little bit of reorganization, a little bit of micromanagement there. Those weak, very battle damaged units on the side, if you notice there, they need to be incorporated into bigger units. But I'm still going to keep moving. Can you see how much disruption, as I say, I'm causing the enemy team there by moving around so far around to the left? Can you see how much disruption? Over here you'll see that Mars was, I think he got a couple of infantry units and his cavalry chasing off Mantu's cavalry there. Nice move there by Mars, but I know Mantu will be back. There, and there you are. Can you see that Romex saw a situation there where he could charge in with his cavalry and hit a couple of enemy units there? That's what I'm hoping for with this left flanking action that I'm doing, just to cause enough disruption in the enemy team that Romex might be able to hit. Right, as I say, I'm reorganizing my battle formation here. Those 2 weaker units I brought into closer to a larger battle unit. I'm going to bring that other weakened unit in as well, just reorganizing my battle formation here before the next kind of tactical move that I'm going to do here. So as you can see there, those very battle damaged units, I brought them in together so that hopefully there's strength there with those 3 battle damaged units in amongst the bigger units. But here you can see Romex moving forward with his infantry there. As I say, he's got his cavalry locked and loaded, ready to charge in and attacking Mars's infantry there. And you see I'm moving, now I've reorganized my infantry battle formation. I'm now moving it forward there. Once again, trying to put a bit of pressure on the enemy team there. And as I say, remember now, as I say, basically, this is almost like a 3v4 in a kind of way, or 2v3, sorry, in a kind of way. But you'll see that Fesen has still got his 2 important units there. And as I say, we may well be looking to attack in a minute, but against such heavy numbers there, that could be possibly a bad move. Okay, so what I wanted to show you here is, can you see that Fesen has brought his general, okay, and his eagle unit up to my army. So now I'm getting a real big morale boost coming into my army. I've got my general as well, and I've got some eagle units, a couple of eagle units as well. So I got a lot of morale with my army here. And as I say, here you can see the enemy team have kind of set up in quite a strong defensive formation there. Isn't it funny that there's just 2 of us really, and yet they've set up in a defensive formation? Here you'll see Sable, I think, has just got 2 units left. That's all the units that Sable has got left there, and he's using them aggressively against Romex as units. Okay, so as I say, you can see the enemy team is set up in a defensive formation here, kind of trying to invite an attack. Okay, so if they want an attack, that's what we're going to do. Right, can you see here that these 3 units of Mars are kind of engaged with Romex's units? Now, can you see where I've positioned my cavalry? Now, are you thinking what I'm thinking here? What I'm thinking here is to charge my cavalry in a punch attack straight down the throats of those 3 units there. Hopefully, if I can hit them hard enough, I could rout those 3 units. But these units here could see my cavalry coming and intercept. So what I need to do is get my infantry to block those Brutii units there from blocking my cavalry attack, if you see what I mean. As I say, this is going to be an attack here because the enemy are on defensive. You can see they're in defensive mode at the moment, so it's going to be up to us to do something here. Sadly, you can see that Romex has just lost 2 of his infantry units there on that particular flank. And if you look at the numbers here, you'll see that they do outnumber us number-wise here. Although with Romex's infantry stretched as much as it is, it looks like we've got more infantry than maybe we have. But there you can see all the cavalry. See, Romex's cavalry is very strong. At this stage of the battle, you can see his cavalry is very strong. It looks to me like he's hardly suffered any casualties at all with his cavalry. Okay, so as I say here, my battle plan is I just explained that to you there, but trying to hit those 3 Brutii units with my cavalry. You see, as I say, I'm moving my SBQ infantry down as kind of a blocking force there to stop the enemy blocking my cavalry hit. And here's Mantu's general there, still alive, look. He's only got 3 men left in that unit, but he's still got his general there, so that'll still be giving a general morale bonus. Okay. So, as I say, you can see me moving my SBQ infantry over. As I say, my infantry are going to be the blocking force there. Okay, just let me pause the game for a second there. So, as I say, you can see I move my units there just to engage and block those units. As I say, my cavalry here, I'm going to go for those 3 Brutii units there. Now, whether it's going to do any good or not, I don't know, because there's a lot of infantry behind them that could be thrown in to counter my cavalry. But here you can see my cavalry going in there. I'm going to smash into the flank of those Brutii units. Bang! As they smash in there. But you'll see the enemy there throwing in infantry there to kind of neutralise my cavalry hit. And sadly, I only routed 1 unit. I was hoping to rout possibly, maybe 2 or 3 of them there, but I only routed 1 unit. But the unit that I routed, if I remember correctly, was a morale boosted unit. So I'm glad I've routed that. That stopped the morale boost that unit was given to the enemy team. So that cavalry attack wasn't as successful as I wanted it to, and now I'm pulling my cavalry back. Once again, did you notice that my cavalry attack culminated? Okay, and then I pulled my cavalry straight out before it could be counterattacked by any enemy cavalry. Right, you can see a couple of Romex's cavalry units going in there like a bang as he smashes in there. Nice hit there, routed that unit. He needs to pull those cavalry units out there now. There you are, you can see him pull the cavalry unit out. There's a lot of infantry was thrown in on those couple of cavalry units. Okay, so pause the game for a second here. So, you can see over here, Mantu's got his cavalry there, possibly looking at a place to attack. You can see here that Romex has got 4 cavalry units there in that particular position, as he's pulling those other 2 cavalry units out of the attack that he put in earlier. They already be pulling these 2 out. So Romex may well be looking to position his cavalry to come in at different angles. Okay, that's what a lot of modern players do, and it's a good move. Newer players to Rome Total War, make a note of that. Can you see I'm keeping my very battle damaged cavalry together there? But here you'll see that the enemy Brutii infantry are really engaging the forward units of my SBQR infantry. If you notice that, can you see those green Brutii units really attacking the forward units of my purple battle formation there? Okay, so the enemy there being very aggressive. You'll see that I think it's Fesen's taking his Eagle unit off and general unit off there to go and help Romex, because you'll see that Romex's units are being aggressively attacked as well. You see Romex throwing his cavalry in on the other flank. Nice hit there. Right, can you see my SBQR cavalry going in here? Okay, now there's a target I'm going for. Can you see the target that my cavalry are going for? I am going for Mars is general. Can you see Mars' square banner there? My cavalry there. I'm going for Mars is general. Now Mars is general is in a very exposed position. Okay, now usually you would expect the general to be back here somewhere out of the battle but still give him morale bonus, but the moment I saw his general was exposed, I charged my battle damaged cavalry into that unit. Now you watch that Brutii unit. Okay, make no mistake, I'm now alt attacking with my cavalry there. Okay, so I'm doing a lot of damage to that general unit, and if you notice here, you'll see that Romex is also attacking that green Brutii general of Mars. And watch that general unit, just keep watching it. Okay, so I've damaged it with my cavalry. Romex is attacking it, and we're really pressuring now. You see Romex throw another infantry unit in, and now between us, look, we've routed Morris's general. So that general morale bonus has now been taken away from the enemy team. So that was a good tactical move there, good teamwork there by Romex and myself. You'll see here that EthEth has got one of his cavalry units, notice in wedge formation. Looks like he's going to smash into the flank of my infantry battle formation there. Okay, now I should have my cavalry up there protecting the flank, okay? I haven't, and so that cavalry unit is going to smash into the flank of my infantry there, and bang! As he charges in there. Look how he threw a lot of my infantry up into the air. But notice that cavalry has culminated and he's pulling the cavalry unit back out. Great move there by EthEth. He's moving more cavalry in there. Morris's cavalry coming in now. Look, and bang! As it smashes in there. So now I'm going to move my battle damaged cavalry up to the flank here. Okay, so what you're going to see in a minute is a I wouldn't say it's a master battle plan, but a battle plan that could work. Okay, you'll see. Can you see where I'm positioning my cavalry? Okay, so I've got a battle plan in mind here. Okay, and I'm just going to explain that to you now. All right, so you can see where I've positioned my cavalry. Okay, now I'm looking to smash into the flank of those enemy infantry there, even with battle damaged cavalry. Now I've noticed that Romex cavalry is at the back here. Now, if you notice, his cavalry is pretty well intact if you look at it. And I reckon if he charged through, he could smash through those infantry units in front of him and get into the back of the enemy units there. Okay, that's what I'm thinking there. And if you notice here, you'll see, I'm just going to forward on the battle a little bit here. You'll see a really nice positioning of Mantu's cavalry. Now, I think Mantu's reading my mind here by the positioning of his cavalry. Okay, so see how he's positioned his cavalry there. Now, he hasn't got a lot of cavalry there, but it is fully upgraded. Okay, now he is looking to smash into the flank of the enemy team here. So I'm just trying to explain the battle plan here. If you could just keep with me here. My cavalry is going to smash into the other flank of the infantry. And as I say, Romex's cavalry, hopefully, because look how many numbers he's got there, can smash through those couple of units in front of him and smash into the back. And we could, right, fingers crossed here, we could get a mass rout going. But first of all, I've got to do an old school, old-fashioned surge attack with my infantry. Okay, so just watch the old-fashioned, old-school surge attack here with my infantry, and then watch the cavalry of our team. Okay, so watch the surge attack go in. You'll see it starts off slowly, and then the surge really hits. Slowly, look, and now the surge hits. Bang! Okay, watch Mantu's cavalry coming in from the right. Watch my cavalry coming in from the left. Okay, we're going in there, and bang! Bang! Now watch Romex cavalry at the rear. Watch Romex cavalry coming in. Watch Romex cavalry coming in there. Look, he's hitting as well. Look, and bang! As well. And now watch the 4 units of Romex coming in as well. Smash through those units in front of him into the back of the enemy troops. Bang! My infantry is surging forward again. Remember, when you surge, you don't just surge once, you keep surging. So my infantry is doing the old school, old-fashioned surge attack over and over again. And look at the damage that our cavalry and my surge attack infantry are doing there. Okay, so basically we've caused a mass rout. Now, can you see you've got the enemy Brutii general and the enemy Scipii general there? So that would be my next target with my infantry. I've got my cavalry there as well. So I'll be looking to try and take out those 2 generals to take the morale bonus away from the enemy team. Watch those 2 generals. The Brutii general, I think, goes first. If you watch the Brutii general there, the green banner, there you are. He's been routed. Now the Scipii general's been routed as well. So we did both of those generals there and took the general morale bonus away. Can you see there's just that one, I think it's TR's general, and he's just routed as well. So all the general morale bonus has now been taken from the enemy team, and there you are. You can see now a mass rout. You can see Romex now attacking with his infantry, throwing his infantry in as well there. And that battle plan there did really work there against solid infantry armies there, and we've managed to go on to win the battle there Over here, as you remember, this was the dead zone, wasn't it? The killing ground, if you like, at the beginning of the battle, where Fesen was really charging his infantry into Sable's infantry there, and all the resources that all of us were throwing in there. I got so excited with this battle, I got a bit of a sore throat. But you can see there that that was the real killing zone there, where so many resources were thrown in and so many troops were killed in that particular part of the battlefield there. That's where it started off. As I say, I'd call that the dead zone there. Then over here, this, as I say, was looked upon as possibly a pivotal part of the battle, where Mantu's cavalry took out most of EthEth and Mars's cavalry there, if you remember. And as I say, after the battle there, a lot of people did remark that they thought that was a pivotal part of the battle, because taking all that cavalry away is a big attacking arm that we've kind of taken away from the enemy troops there. So well done to Mantu there. And then if we move over here to this part of the battlefield there, you can see a lot of intense fighting here. And of course, as I say, that battle plan of ours that kind of caused the mass rout there of the enemy team there. You can just see, of course, this is long grass here, so the enemy are laying obviously in the long grass. You can't see the bodies that clearly, but as I say there, that was a great battle there. And there you are, you can see there Fesen's general and Fesen's eagle were still alive right to the end of the battle there, giving their morale bonus to our team. Very, very important there. So well done to Fesen there, keeping those 2 morale boosting units alive there. And as I say, it's just a case now of mopping up a few units that might be left there now. I always say in other battle videos as well, at this stage of the battle, if there's any units left of the enemy team, just best to admit defeat, and then we'll then get into the lobby and get another battle going there. I think we'll go up to triple speed here just to move forward a bit there maybe. I thought all the enemy troops were dead at this stage. Here, can you see these troops celebrating? Can you see, read the writing there? They were celebrating there at the victory there. That's something that you don't see very often. I say we've got up to the triple speed now, and hopefully that'll bring the battle result up pretty quickly there. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As I say, this is an old school, old-fashioned battle that we were fighting 2005-2006 Rome v Rome. I thought it would be an average victory. Clear victory surprised me there, but anyway, we must have just edged into that. Highest kills in the game goes to GoTW Romex. 1,735 kills, so really well done to GoTW Romex, played really well. Well done to Mars, got over 1,000 kills with his army, so really well done to Mars. Well done to Sable, got over 1,000 kills, well done to him there. Well done to EthEth, got over 1,000 kills as well, so well done. TR be a bit disappointed, he got less than 1,000 kills there, but I thought he played quite well at holding Mantu at the rear of the enemy's team there when Mantu went around the back. And my kills managed to scrape in the second highest kills, so quite pleased with that really. It's not too bad, so quite pleased with that. Well done to Mantu. He might be a bit disappointed that he got less than 1,000 kills, but as I say, that cavalry battle there I think proved, a lot of people thought that proved pivotal, taking out most of Mars and EthEth's cavalry there, taking that attacking arm away from the enemy team. As I say, that could well have proved pivotal there for Drunken Mantu, who's enjoyed his party, by the way, so he told me. So there you are. Did he play better drunken? What do you think? Anyway, there's Fesen there, got some good kills there with his Julia army. And as I say, well done to Romex, highest kills in the game. And just to say here that a Rome v Rome battle, as I say, back in 2005, 2006, 2007 probably as well, was a common thing, because most people just really concentrated on playing on Rome. Of course, these days a lot of people have got good with all different types of factions, but in the early years of Rome Total War, the Rome v Rome battles were very, very common, and so that's why we decided to do this. So we've taken you back to 2005, 2006, a retro battle of Rome versus Rome. Hope you enjoyed it. Please put your thoughts in the comments. It's always really nice to read what you think about our battles, and bye for now.